This is the podcast for women who want to create careers and lives they love. I'm your host, Heather Fincher. Welcome to the Powerful Professional Women podcast. I'm happy to have Caroline Ciraolo here today for part 2 in front of a live audience to share her experience and insight into creating a career and life you love. Caroline is a partner with Castellanos LLP and founder of its Washington, D.C. office, and former acting assistant attorney general of the U.S. Department of Justice Tax Division. Caroline is one of the most powerful and successful lawyers in Washington, D.C., and I would add around the globe, a champion for women, and an extraordinary person I feel lucky to know. Welcome, Caroline. I'm so grateful to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much. And again, congratulations on this amazing venture. I just think you walk on water, but this is phenomenal. And I am really looking forward to watching all the episodes.
Thank you, Caroline. In our last episode, you shared your story and gave us actionable insights on connections. Thank you. And I really liked what you had to say about opening the circle, especially that it sparks joy. I love how you said that. It's so true. And I'm excited to hear more. So let's jump right into our Q&A.
Okay.
What do you know now that you wish you could tell your younger self when you were starting your career?
Okay. So first, I would take advantage. I would tell my younger self, use that downtime. Because you look back and you think, boy, I had a lot of time. I look back on the pandemic and think, why do I not speak another language at this point? Like I had 2 years to learn and I haven't learned yet. So I would have used downtime more effectively. I'm very lucky. I love my life and my friends and my family and everything, but I think I would have used downtime a little bit more effectively. So I would say that. I would try and remember that everything I say and do leaves an impression, for better or worse, right? And so you look back and you may have said something that you wish you hadn't said, or not that regrets. I understand like we shouldn't carry regrets around, but I would tell my younger self, be thoughtful, like even if you want to say something, give it a pause and then think, do I really want to say this? Especially in the age of reply all, right? You just need to be careful with that. Which leads me to the next thing, which is, if you're upset about something, take a walk. Right? I used to do this when I worked in Baltimore. We had this office and it was a circle. And I remember I would be on the phone, frankly, with someone at a tax authority and getting so frustrated. And I would say, let's regroup. Let's end the call here and let's schedule this for a part 2 when you have the luxury of doing that, right? And just walking around and breathing and being like, okay, get it out and think before you say or do something you don't want to do. And of course, if you do or say something or somebody does it to you, forgive them. But also then finally, this is personal, this is not legal. All the stuff I've collected over my life, I would tell my younger self, you don't need that extra belt, that extra picture, those tchotchkes from your travels, leave it there, take a photo and walk away. Because now I'm trying to unpack with the kids out and it's like, oh.
And there's something about having your space, like if when I have clutter, it's like a noise that I may not really notice, but when I clear it out, there's extra space for creating or, whatever.
Yes, our firm is always striving to go as paperless as possible. And I'm the cog, I need to get rid of this.
Now you mentioned your family, so I'd love to hear how personal relationships and family play a part in your life as a professional. I know you love Caroline. You've said numerous times like you love your work and you work a lot and you give a lot to people through your career. So tell us a little bit about relationships and
right. So I was really lucky to have amazing parents. And fortunately, I still have them and I see them. I saw them last week when we were in New York. Like I said, my father is an extrovert. My mother is more of an introvert. So I got the best of both worlds. But we have a really healthy sense of humor and sometimes a dark sense of humor, like when things go bad or bad news comes, we try and find some glimmer of fun in it just to get through it. And so it has, I laugh quickly and often, sometimes at the wrong times, but I'm grateful for that. And I try and make space in my life for those moments with my family that remind me that, the world can be a funny place, and that's a great thing. And then, look, I've been married for 25 years. We kind of, people know, even in Castellanets, and that I tend to plant roots, right? I put my bags down, I get to work, and I don't go that many places. So I've been married a long time, and I have two amazing kids. We, as my husband always says, they're our kids. We have two amazing children. So, yeah, my daughter is in grad school. My son is in college, and they're both out, almost out. Um, and they're just hysterical. I love them. They're really good people. They're really kind, which is, I, you know, I just, that's one of the best things about our kids, I think, that they're just really good, kind people. And I love that.
Beautiful. And now expanding a little bit into a wider circle, focusing on relationships, like how is creating a career in life you love, looking at groups of people or certain other people. Now, I imagine, Caroline, there have been so many people in your life that have made a positive impact on you. And I'm just wondering if you're willing to share just a few examples and from a perspective of what impact they made on you, from a perspective of like, what can we take from that potentially and give to other people in our lives?
Yeah. So I've already talked about my parents. They are huge. And my siblings. I have two brothers. And I know you asked about how I fit all that in. You just make the time, right? You just find ways, phone, emails, stuff like that. But so I have my family. But in addition to that, I would say professionally, collectively the women in tax controversy, there is this group of women. There's this line in a West Wing episode, these women, look at these women, right? That's the tax controversy female bar. And I mean, I could rattle them off. There's, of course, Paula Younghands, Judge Marvel, Nina Olson, Karen Hawkins, Claudia Hill, Miriam Fisher. I mean, just Kathy Keneally. You go on and on. Barbara Kaplan. There's so many amazing women. Joan is on here. Alice Abreu, Julie DeVola. Like, you just go on and on. And on. And so I get a lot of energy from those women, and they seem to do more, juggle more, manage more, produce more than I could ever hope to in my entire career. And so they are like the North Star. I just kind of point my ship and I keep moving forward. So I'm just so grateful for that. And if I didn't mention anyone, it's only because I'm a little nervous today. So, but they're just huge. And then a little closer to home, my partners at Castellanets, they rolled the dice on me when I came out of DOJ. I had no clients, and I had been as a government, and I'd only worked really with my group from Baltimore because I joined that boutique firm and we merged into this other firm. And so that was the only firm that really knew me. And so I'm grateful to them for bringing me into the fold, letting me join such an amazing team, and frankly, putting up with me because I'm quirky and, I have my, the way I work and what drives me. So I'm grateful to them. And then there's so many others, but I want to particularly mention Diana Erbsen because she's been like a sister to me from the first time we met in the early 90s. Oh my goodness. Hey, sweetie. I didn't see you on here. So, okay, now I'm a little embarrassed, but okay. So we met in the early 90s when we were clerking on the tax court together. And then Diana went to this amazing firm in New York and then joined DLA, but we stayed in touch. And she was the kind of person that like everyone wants to be, and to have that friendship early on and throughout my entire career. Like, I knew I could tell Diana anything. Not only would she get me back on the path, she would say, no, no, you're not doing that. You need to look here, or no, 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 don't say that. Or if I said it, okay, don't say that again, but she would also, like, she was a cheering section for me. And whenever I had doubt, I could call Diana and be like, okay, we need to walk through this. And she'd be like, okay, step at a time. And we went to DOJ together, and there's no, like, people talk about, oh, the head of the tax division. There were two heads of the tax. Like, there's no way I could have done that job without Diana next to me every step of the way. So, Diana, thank you for joining today and for all your notes and post-it notes and calls. I love them. And those are my group. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Diana's on mute. That's okay.
For any listeners, Diana just exuberantly replied, and I can only imagine the joy that was just in her voice. All right, so speaking of your peers, we focused a lot on what advice you would have for um, some of the people who are junior, women who are starting out in their careers. I'd like to invite you to share any insight you may have with professional women who are your peers. What would you tell? What would you advise? What kind of things would you encourage, or what insight could you share with?
Right. So I would say always be grateful for the opportunities that are presented because I think sometimes as we get older and we're tired, and if somebody invites you to go to lunch or speak on a panel or participate in an organization, take a moment and just be grateful, right? Like that's amazing that somebody wants to be connected to you, wants to spend time with you, doesn't want to run the other way when you walk in the room. Like that's a really nice thing. And so you want to be grateful for that and then pay it forward. And if there's something that you want to be involved in, ask. Because I think as we get older, some people will look at us and say, oh my goodness, they've done everything. They don't have time and they're too busy or they never say yes. So sometimes we have to walk in at hand, a little humble and say, boy, I would really like to do this, or I would really like to join you there, or because people don't always know. And you may not be the first one. And frankly, we're all trying to give everyone opportunities. So no matter what stage of your career you're at, if you want to do something, um, my grandmother used to say all the time, wouldn't you think they know this? Wouldn't you think they know that? And I loved her dearly. And the fact is, no, right? You need to express yourself. You need to say what you want. And we need to let it go. Like any perceived grievances, like and apologize, not all the time. Don't always apologize because they always tell all of us, don't apologize every time you walk around. It drives people crazy. But and you shouldn't do it because you're not like there's nothing to apologize for. Life is a learning experience, right? But if you feel like you've hurt someone, then apologize. And when someone does that to you, accept it and then let it go. Life is too short.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it only affects us if we hold on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Thank you.
yep.
I would love to hear, Caroline,
Yes.
being an extraordinarily successful woman.
Uh-huh.
I know this might be hard, but what would you say are your 3 keys to success?
Okay, 3 keys to success. So one, I think I can working hard. Work whether you call it a work ethic or a commitment or outwork, outplay, like the survivor mentality. I feel like that is one of my biggest keys is that I love it and I can dig in and if somebody says I need you for the next 24 hours and we'll sleep later, I'm there. I'm your partner on that. I can do that. So that's one key. Um, Humility, I think. And it's not I mean, there are people that are like, "Oh, no," all the time they're being self-deprecating. I don't mean to be that way. I'm not talking about self-deprecation. I'm talking about just humility in the sense that we can all be better. We can all learn more. We can all contribute value. And just knowing that when you walk in the room, that's your space that you're in. I think that's important to know, right? And to just be humble. Like there's this Tim McGraw song, "Humble and Kind," which I love. It's like my favorite song, and I love that part of it. And then appreciate anytime somebody does something to you, I don't it doesn't matter if sometimes I'm talking really loud, right? Mariana cannot hear herself think. She will come over with a huge smile and just slowly close my door. I appreciate that. Like that's something I really appreciate because it's kind and it's thoughtful and it reminds me to say, oh, the Diana's always telling me down because I'm a lot. So, but yeah, so just be appreciative of everything and just let people know how much you appreciate it. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And for anyone who didn't see, Mariana's on the call and she just put a little heart emoji. So wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing,
Yeah.
Caroline. Thank you for being on the podcast today. I am personally grateful for all that I've learned from you. And I want to thank our live audience who have been with Caroline and me today for all of your support, positive energy, and smiles. And I'm grateful to each one of our listeners. I hope you leave this episode inspired and empowered. And let's get out there and create careers and lives we love.